Hey everybody, welcome to We Run on Reruns. I'm Amanda and I'm here with my brother Eric.
How's it going, everybody? And when we get this started, this should be our, last Stranger Things podcast right before the Christmas holiday. So to those of you who are celebrating, Merry Christmas to all of you. Happy holidays. I hope you are all having a wonderful holiday with your families as well as we are.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, everyone. We are so glad to have you along with us for this Stranger Things ride. We are into season 3 today. And yeah, I don't know about where you guys are. Everyone is located, all out there in the world in different climates. But for me, it's pretty freaking cold today. Although it has been colder this year. Some of the snow has actually started to melt, believe it or not. It usually, once we get the first storm, it usually sticks around all winter, but still colder than I like. I know I should be used to this being, growing up in New Hampshire, but it's a lot. It's cold.
Listen, I grew up in New Hampshire, obviously, with you, but I live out in Ohio now, and it is cold out in Ohio. Like, the wind is whipping across the plains, and it is real cold out right now. So I keep hearing things like that. We're in for just a really tough winter this year. A lot of cold, a lot of snow. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Before we go any farther,
it's always nicer on the holidays. But then after it, I'm like over it. Yeah.
Then we're done, right? Like, we're done with that. Real quick, I just want to shout out my niece, Olivia. Thank you very much. I saw her post our podcast on Snapchat to all her friends, telling people to tune in. So thank you very much, Olivia. And I'd say I'll see you soon for the holidays, but at this point, I've already seen you for the holidays. So hope we did okay with the gifts.
Early. Nice. Well, that is awesome, Olivia. You rock. Sweet.
Thank you.
And so today, actually, let's just do a quick recap of where we left things off in the season 2 finale. Oh my God, there are so many things that happened. We had Joyce, Jonathan, and Nancy. They were all torturing the Mind Flayer out of Will, no longer giving it what it wants. Although Jonathan was a little bit hesitant to do that, as we were kind of talking about in our last episode.
We did.
But we also had simultaneously Steve was with the kids setting it on fire in the upside down tunnels.
A lot of heat. A lot of heat in this episode.
Yes. And 11 was also working with Hopper to close the gate at the Department of Energy while they were all, doing these things in their other groups. So, we then jumped 1 month into the future where 11 was attending the snowball with Mike.
Yeah.
And they were all attending the snowball, but that was that dance that Mike had really wanted her to go to at the end of season 1. So now finally they're able to be together there. But as we close things out in that episode, it zoomed out and we saw the Mind Flayer was still looming over the school in the upside down. So kind of to tell us, hey guys, I'm still out here. This might not be over. So we kind of talked about how it almost gave the sense of if they wanted to end the series there, they could have.
You could have.
But I'm glad that they didn't.
You could have played it off like he was trapped there. But we know that's not the case. And I'll say this. We talked about this just before we jumped onto the podcast. But I was saying, season 2 for me on the whole hits like a mini extension to season 1. Where I feel season 3, season 4, and we're not spoiling anything on season 5. But season 5 all have very different agendas because of where the story has gone. And I personally like that more. Like season 2 to me always feels like the one that kind of gets forgotten in the pantheon of Stranger Things. But I think a lot of people, I don't know, I get the vibe that a lot of people dislike 3. And this is what we're going into here with the Starcourt Mall and all that. And I think people dislike this one a little bit more. But you know what? We're here for the ride, and we're going to jump into season 3, episode 1 here in a minute.
And it might be because of how you just described that, where it's like season 2 almost seemed to fit more nicely into that same vibe as season 1. Yeah. And then season 3 mixes things up. We have a lot, the different characters and in different locations, and people are kind of
it's an abrupt
figuring
switch.
out. Yeah. And even this first episode back, it's like they're doing a lot of stage setting here, a lot of just preparation for what's to come.
And in that, there's a lot in this very first episode too. You see a lot of like character arc shifts. Like a lot of characters have taken either a progression or maybe regression in the eyes of how you want to view it, as far as what their character is going to be as we go forward. So yeah, let's just kind of get rolling with it and see where we go.
Yeah, no, that's so true. I could speak to that more, but yeah, let's get into it, and we will get there.
We'll hit them as we go, because I feel like we could spend an hour talking about it without ever mentioning the show. So,
all right, so this one is we're into chapter 1. Suzie, do you copy? And we hope she does copy, but it might be a little bit. So we opened this episode. Yeah, not today. So we opened this episode with the date June 28th, 1984. And we are with 2 guys in lab coats and some other folks in military uniforms in some type of lab or research facility. And 2 of the guys are in lab coats. They're taking out these keys, and you can tell whatever they're about to unlock is pretty serious, because they have to be on 2 different ends of this desk. And so one person cannot unlock this. There has to be 2 people unlocking this thing at the same time. This is serious business here. So they're flipping the switch. They're unlocking what turns out to be this laser beam. And it is targeted at a wall, and it is opening up what now looks like another gate. Yeah. And they're opening it up, you're getting the red light beam coming out. Were you going to comment on that?
I was just going to say, this thing looks like a giant Tesla coil or like nuclear situation where you clearly have to have multiple people on board to unlock this thing. And now it appeared to me like they already had a gate somewhat open, but maybe it wasn't truly opened, because they have obviously, through their speech, from what we hear, this is not their first time attempting this.
No.
And it's also, not very successful this time either.
Exactly. Right. Because you could tell they've been working at this, but something is going wrong. And it does again here too. But they start to open it up. You're getting this red light coming through, and then black goo kind of tentacles are reaching out from the opening that starts to form. And it looks like a door is forming here. But just as as quickly as it's opening up, then the portal is trying to seal itself back up. The laser is failing, and everyone looks extremely disappointed right before there is this massive electric blast. Yeah. And then we get this almost slow motion scene where everyone on the ground floor is getting fried. Now you have this other group of guys, the ones who unlocked it. They're sort of in this other area up top, just peering down at this scene behind a nice safety wall.
Yes, those people are never on the ground floor, are they? The people who are making the call never seem to be putting their body on the line. They seem to be behind protective glass all the time.
Right. So then they're coming down these stairs after all of this, everything cools down, and to inspect what happened with this wall. And this is where we learn that these are the Russians, because they're having dialogue. So up until at this point in this episode, they really weren't, having any conversation, but we're hearing Russian, and the military dude is holding the lab coat guy up in the air by his throat until he's dead. So it's pretty much like, hey, it didn't work. I'm going to kill you. And I love this strategy, Eric, because it's like, hey, maybe that guy if you didn't keep killing off your scientists, maybe they would, learn from the failure and then get it right. That might be a mistake, killing the guy that you just trusted to get you this far, but I don't know. Just a wild theory there.
Not gonna lie, I didn't recognize that he killed him.
He was dead.
He very well might have been. But when I was watching it, he also then said, you have 1 year. And so there's a deadline told to these guys that they've got 1 year to get this thing done. And you can tell they've been given an extension a few times. It certainly feels that way. This is not their first time. But I found it very interesting that this big electrical explosion goes off, fries everyone into the room, and then they're still like, yeah, let's go down there now.
Yeah. Right.
Like, no, I think I'm going to stay up here. No thanks.
And I'm never coming back.
No, I'm going to stay on this side of the wall and exit out the back. But they get 1 year to fix it. And of course, this is when the commander walks outside. We see the Soviet Union flag flying, and we see they are not in Hawkins. Because for me, I also made the assumption that they're at the Department of Energy this whole time until they started talking. And even then, I still kind of thought like, well, maybe this place has just been taken over by the Russians.
Sure.
No, it's in Russia. Now, I knew that the second time through, but when I watched it the first time, I remember thinking that it's not clear where they are.
No,
which then this opening scene reminds me a lot of last season's opening scene where we met Callie, number 8, because it implies these gates are all over the world. They're not just in Hawkins.
Exactly. That is what this is telling us, that this is not just this like isolated phenomenon in Hawkins. This is happening, at least, we know of in multiple places. So
yes, we now at least know 2 places.
Yeah. And, this kind of, and you wonder too, because at the beginning of this, Department of Energy, they were spying on the Russians. So that was kind of the initial strategy when they were, for helping Elle develop these powers. It was really to tap in. So it makes you wonder, were they tapping in because they already knew that they were developing this science? Like we're learning more about that. And that piece gets interesting, but
I feel like it's all just, think of the time period, think of when we are. This is very Cold War, US versus Russia in everything. So whether or not they know the Russians have this ability or have access to this ability, the Americans and the Russians both are going to explore every single untapped piece of potential energy to see what they can use against each other. Like that's what this was all about. And we find out they're both exploring it. That's for sure.
And the important piece here too is that this scene, so right after the scene, we get the credits and it says 1 year later. But this scene in the beginning is really, that tells us this was happening at the same time as season 2. So that was during that whole period. So that was on that past timeline at this point. And they don't have Elle, because Elle is the only one who, as we know, could actually open this gate. This laser beam is not doing what she could do. So her scream when she lost control, that is what blasted that gate open. So now we're wondering, they're probably, wanting to harness that same type of energy somehow.
Shows you just how much power she genuinely has.
And the question is, well, what are they looking to accomplish here by opening the gate? That's really what we don't know.
Well, that's why I'm saying, like, I feel like a lot of this is just stemmed from Cold War, who's going to be the world power? Is it Russia or the United States? And how can we upend the other one? not necessarily even knowing what they're getting into, but just trying to find a way to beat the other country is kind of what they're going for.
In some game that we have no idea how it's going to turn out, or we're just going to...
Listen, this thing all came down to like the United States saying we were going to make a Death Star that was going to shoot down all rockets everywhere, and then Russia tried to like make one and couldn't. And and we couldn't possibly do it even if we wanted to. But
the ultimate keeping up with the Joneses, like super ridiculous.
Oh, that's it. Right. I mean, this is some crazy stuff that went down in the Cold War. But that's I guess that's my point in saying this is how this could have genuinely happened.
Yes.
Because these countries didn't even care what they were getting into. They just knew they had to get to it first.
Yeah.
And that is something terrifying. That could be connected.
Yeah. So, well, now we're 1 year.
Gives it some realism, though. Gives it some realism.
Yeah, that's true. Well, now we're in, again, credits roll 1 year later. And
their year is up.
We shift gears right away, and we're now with 11 and Mike, who are making out, listening to the radio, and
that's a hard transition, by the way, to go from, like, nuclear explosion to teenage makeout session.
Yes.
Yeah.
And well, Hopper is not so happy about this, so they're in the cabin. And I mean, this whole scene, it's very awkward. They're all like super happy, giggling, making out, and Hopper's in the other room on his recliner eating Tostitos and drinking a beer, and he's demanding that they keep the door open at least 3 inches. That's his rule in the house, and they're not really obeying that rule. And then Mike decides to head out at this point, and they're talking on their walkie-talkie. So this is such teenage love where it's like the second they're apart, then they're talking on their giant walkie-talkies as Mike's riding his bike away, and talking about Hopper and, how they're going to navigate this situation. But they're both saying, oh, I wish I was still with you. And they already have plans to hang out tomorrow. But so... gotta love that. But then Mike, though, he already has plans tonight. He's meeting up with Lucas, Max, and Will at the mall. And then we get to see Steve and Robin.
Well, before we get to Robin.
Yes.
Okay. I just want to make this note about Elle. I feel like in that scene with Mike at the cabin, her vocab has changed dramatically.
Oh, that is so...
Like, they've just fast-forwarded her ability to speak.
Sense. A year later,
We're 2 seasons in.
Right.
Yeah. We're 2 seasons in.
Yeah.
She's now spent all this time with... Her ability to speak, not an issue anymore. Maybe doesn't know all the words yet, but she's pretty good.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, that is huge. That's so true, because it's like, all right, the year in the cabin, still a bit isolated with Hopper. I mean, they were talking, but still, I'm sure, limited conversations. But then, now that she's reunited with her group, it's she's really being integrated. So that's really cool. And we have Steve and Robin at Ahoy, this ice cream shop. And they're
Scoops
working.
Ahoy. Scoops Ahoy.
Scoops Ahoy. That's right. Scoops Ahoy. It's a really cute name, actually. I like that.
It's a great name.
Yeah. No, I don't. Right. I was only picking up because it says Ahoy on their hats.
Yeah.
But yes, Scoops Ahoy. And the kids are going up to Steve because he's sneaking them into this back entrance to the movie theater to avoid paying. And he's like, all right, just, what is he saying? This is the last time, or like he can't keep doing this.
And if you tell anybody, we're dead, you'll kill us. Like, we get it.
Yeah. And, and I like Max's comments, still made it fart face. Max is saying to Lucas, so they have a really...
Well, it's because Lucas was yelling at Erica as they're running through the mall, and like, he's like, wow. She's like, wow, like, really? Come on, just walk away from her. Stop being ridiculous.
I know.
Let's move on.
Exactly. I love how his little sister kind of bullies him. It's kind of like she's funny. Out of control. She's so funny.
I understand that, Lucas. I understand.
Hey, okay. Okay. So And Eric, did I not write it down? This is actually it's part of the Night of the Living Dead franchise, what they're watching at the movie theater. I didn't end up writing it down, but I haven't seen it, but I think it said I looked it up and it was the third movie in that series, because I knew for a fact that the Duffer Brothers put in like a real horror movie in there, and they kept showing little clips.
With all the different like connections they've made to 80s franchises, like for sure they would do that. I did not catch it.
Yeah.
And I should have gone and looked it up. I didn't look it up. So I just assumed you would have that for me, to be honest with you.
Well,
but
it's the third movie. I do remember that. And the night, I think it's called like, I'll look it up. But either way, all of the power
as we
then went out. Yes.
Well, but that's true. Before we get to that, I just want to mention, I feel like this episode, this is one of the first scenes we see it in. We see it with Mike and Elle. We see it with them sneaking into the movie theater. We're really just getting to see these kids be a little bit older teenagers, be in their normal teenage selves, like thinking nothing else is going wrong. Everything's done. And, we know obviously that's not going to be the case. Something's going to go sideways somewhere, but it's very interesting to see them, with their true colors, like acting as kids.
Yeah.
Instead of having to take on a more responsible role And
absolutely.
I'm not going to say that I like all of their adjustments to their characters, but there's definitely a change. And that's very interesting.
Some growing pains there, you might say.
There are some growing pains there, for sure.
And it's Day of the Dead, which came out in 1985, so that all tracks. And yeah, that's the movie that they're watching there with the hands coming out of the wall. I'll have to watch that. I haven't seen that one. But yeah, just as they're getting started with this movie, all the power in the mall goes out, and they kind of zoom out, and you realize it's not just where they are, the whole town.
Yeah.
All the power.
Not the theater.
Yeah.
Not the mall. Like the whole power grid is out.
Mm-hmm. And then we're then zooming in, so we're kind of in this aerial shot, and then we're diving down into what kind of looks like a warehouse of some sort. It almost looks like a giant trailer, and we're going through the roof down into this, and then we're seeing more of these particles that the same kind that had left Will's body in the last season. And they're forming together again, making like this tornado, and something is happening. And this is looking all too familiar here.
It seems to me, the way I interpreted this was the mind flare required all the energy. And so all the power went out.
Yes.
And so while the power is all out, we're in this warehouse. We see like the floor just vibrating, and all the little sand particles and like, pieces of stone kind of start elevating off the ground. It forms this big tornado, and then the power goes back on. And to me, that to me says, hey, Mind Flayer's back in town, because he's now formed himself a little tornado being, and we don't need this energy anymore, so all the lights go back on instantaneously.
Yeah. And we're back in the mall then, and the power suddenly comes back to normal, I'm sure, right? I'm sure everything's fine now. And then we're looking right at Will's face, where he's looking pretty panicked, and he's feeling the back of his neck, because he's getting that feeling. The hair is standing up on the back of his neck. He's getting goosebumps, and he knows it's the Mind Flayer. He knows in his gut, and Mike is asking if he's okay, because Mike can obviously see the look on his face too, like, uh-oh, what's going on here? And then we shift back to the next scene with Nancy and Steve. No, I'm so sorry. Nancy and Jonathan.
No.
It's not Nancy and Steve.
No.
Nancy and Jonathan are waking up together at the buyer's house. Oh, man. So, and Joyce looks a bit like she's a little bit thrown off by this. She's, I think, still adjusting to having Jonathan have a girlfriend stay over. And
well, okay. Did Joyce know that Nancy stayed over?
I
don't think she did.
Oh, maybe she...
Because Nancy went out the window.
Oh, Nancy went out. Oh my gosh. Yes, Nancy went out the window.
Went out the window.
But
she went out the window, and Jonathan said something about Nancy, and Will is then like, "Oh, that's so gross," like blah blah blah, and
that's right. They met back up outside.
And they met back up outside. So I don't think she even knew.
Yeah, that's
parents these days.
You're right. Yeah.
But I will say, no spoilers towards season 5, but I do find this scene very interesting because clearly over the end of season 4, we have like Will on his own journey of sorts. And this, where he's like, I'm never going to have a girlfriend, is kind of the first start of that, where he is on this different journey that we will, uncover as we go.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And we also, at the buyer's house, we see this drawing, which I'm assuming Will did, of Bob being a superhero, Bob Newby. Picture on the fridge, but
superhero.
We see it because Joyce realizes all of their magnets and the stuff that they had on the fridge is on the ground or on the floor. And so she's picking it up, and that's when we see the drawing, but she's wondering, like, how did this, why are all the magnets on the ground? Like, how did this happen? But, yeah.
But they did. And so, listen, these days, I think everybody in this town, at least all the members of this group, something out of place happens, you kind of go,
Yeah, right. Exactly.
but you're not really sure. It could also just be, weird occurrence. Things happen.
Well, then we're back with Jonathan and Nancy as they're rushing off and in the car. And Nancy is worried about being late to the Hawkins paper, where she is really hoping to find this job opportunity. I don't know if they mentioned the paper there or if that isn't mentioned till later on.
Yes, it was the hold on, I have it here. I believe it's the Hawkins Post.
Hawkins Post, yes, Hawkins Post. Yep. So she's like kind of getting all ready, putting some makeup on and trying to look professional as Jonathan is driving her to work. And then we're with they pass cars, because then we jump cars into Dustin's car with his mom, where his mom is driving him home from camp. So Dustin, it looks like, has been at camp all summer, and now he's coming back. And we go with Dustin into his room.
Gold leader returning to base.
That's right.
Gold leader returning to base. And for what it's worth, it's not all summer, because it's June. We knew it was June 28th.
Yes.
And it's been a year later.
Yes.
So none of these kids are like, but none of these kids are trying to go to school.
No.
Right. This is the summer.
Right.
They're
Good
out.
point.
So he's been away at camp, but there's no school in session, because I was trying to figure out if Jonathan and Nancy have graduated and now they're at work, or is this just kind of like a summer internship job situation, which I think is more accurate.
Yes, no, absolutely. Yeah, internship. I mean, it definitely appears that way when we're with Nancy.
Well, for Nancy, it definitely is.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I have a feeling that you've got some things to say about Nancy's situation.
It's of a different time. My goodness. Wow. Yeah. So, but here we're with Dustin in his room. I love the scene, Eric. Like this scene just cracked me up. So we're with Dustin. All of a sudden, like, all of his toy robots start going off at the same time. And, he's looking at them like, oh God, because as we mentioned before, anything weird starts to happen in Hawkins and everyone's mind goes to the worst place. So he's thinking, what's going on here? He grabs a can of hairspray,
Farrah Fawcett hairspray,
Farrah
mind you.
Fawcett hairspray that Steve has recommended to him, because it looks like he's holding down that look. And he's just following all of these toys that are, rolling in unison out of his room, holding the hairspray out. And then you get to see all of the friends are hiding around the corner.
Okay, so Dustin's mom also played into this by
Yes.
saying, hey, maybe they forgot.
Yeah.
Maybe they forgot. And clearly they're all there,
Yes.
waiting for him to get home.
Yes.
Sometimes I forget that Elle has all these abilities because I'm like, how did they get these toys to do this? Are they like all sitting there with different remote controls?
This is child's
like
play
getting
for
them
her.
to move around.
She's just casually
and she's
doing
just
this.
moving them with her mind. I'm like, oh yeah, right. That's that would work.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I'm trying to figure out how to realistically do it. And I'm like, oh yeah, right. Just, mind control. That'll do.
Yeah. Just a teenager with these powers. So she could also do things like slam her door in Hopper's face, like as he's like, trying to open it back up.
That's got to be the best use of it.
Oh, right. So, yeah. So they're all hiding around the other side of the wall. And you could tell that Elle is like focusing as she's moving these toys. And just as they start creeping up behind Dustin and they, yell surprise as he's, watching these toys, and Dustin turns around and screams and just is spraying the hairspray directly into poor Lucas's eyes. I mean, it was...
I feel bad for Lucas there.
I was dying laughing in the scene. It was pretty funny.
This was really funny. This was right, and this is what I'm saying.
It was so funny.
This is such a great, like, just the kids being kids scene.
Yes.
Granted, you got somebody with mind control that can move all the toys around and make it very easy and fun, but so cool to see them all just having a good time.
And I appreciate those lighthearted moments in Stranger Things because so much of it gets real dark. This season,
they're so hard to find.
Oh,
so it's always good when they're out there.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's also why I just appreciate Steve in general too, because he adds that like kind of levity. So then we're with, speaking of light moments, then we're with Mrs. Wheeler and the rest of the neighborhood cougars, I would say, at the pool. And they are counting down the seconds until this high school kid, Billy, although maybe he's graduated at this point.
Unrecognized.
Okay, either way, he's a teenager.
Irrelevant.
Yeah.
Irrelevant.
He's a teenager, and they're counting down the seconds until Billy shows up. And Billy comes out, and he's, saying, hey, lard ass, no running on my watch, and he's blowing his whistle.
Man, listen, that would never fly today.
Can you imagine?
Like, do you know how many parents would get up and be like, you can't talk to my kid that way?
Oh, there would be.
And meanwhile, the kid's running around the pool, and he breaks his neck, and it's like, well, I tried to stop him, but you yelled at me for letting him go. Like, this is where there's some like fine lines here. Maybe the 80s was a little too harsh, but like, we can't just let them do whatever they want. I mean, there are rules and consequences in society, and that was part of it. And believe you me, he had that entire pool's respect, whether or not it was due to them all fearing him or loving him. Whatever, they all listened to him real quick.
I'm realizing,
because then he blew the whistle again, and they all got right back into motion.
Well, that's right. And Eric, I'm realizing now, do we ever really find out how, like, when Billy woke up at the Byers' house, like exactly what happened there? Do we ever really learn? No. Okay.
Not that I can recall. So. Like, he just, Max told him how it was. And the two of them have just kind of agreed to coexist on their own at this point. We're all good. Yeah. And we move on.
Well, he's saying afternoon, ladies, and saying nice suit to Mrs. Wheeler.
Love the new, or dig the new suit, Mrs. Wheeler.
Wow. Okay. And Mrs. Wheeler is way too excited to be hearing this from Billy. It's like, oh, yep. All right. Then we cut over.
So I got issues with Mrs. Wheeler later in this episode.
Oh my God. Mrs. Wheeler is out of control here. And now we're with Joyce and Hop at her work, where he's basically coming in to vent to her about Elle and just having a real hard time with these teenage hormones and how Elle is slamming the door in his face. And, he's just saying, it's that smug son of a bitch Mike. I'm like, wow, Hopper, like, this is really harsh. I feel like The way
like,
that he's talking about Mike almost sounds like some kid that he doesn't know. I don't know. It feels very weird here.
They really like fast forwarded this relationship between Elle and Mike and also with Hopper because you get the vibe from Hopper in this scene where he's ultimately coming to Joyce for some advice and she gives him advice on how to talk to them, right? That's what this scene is all about. But Hopper, one, has not had to parent someone from like, say, 5 years old to 13.
No.
He missed all that window. So there's no experience in that gap of time. Yep. This is a new thing for him. And he also has to deal with Mike and Elle, who are like, you know, brand new romance. Elle, new to society, still trying to figure all that out. Mike has no parental guidance whatsoever.
Yeah,
he
Mike
can do whatever he wants,
Here.
seemingly.
Yeah.
And, well, when we get to where Mike is later, I understand Hopper's frustration, and I can see why he would refer to him as such. But at this point in the show, you go, wow,
I know.
That's an aggressive stance to take, Hopper. Like, like, you know, I don't, is he really the one corrupting her? Like, come on. But we see it in a few minutes, and it's like, oh,
yeah. And
anyway,
well, yeah, Joyce is telling him to have a heart-to-heart, and she has to even explain to him what a heart-to-heart is. Oh, Hopper, okay.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like some of these things in this first episode, really
dealing with people.
Like, well, he says heart-to-heart, like I've never heard this phrase before, and I'm like, Hopper,
this is a thing.
What are you saying to me? You've never. I understand that you're a cop from the 80s, but like you've never heard the phrase heart to heart.
It's
come on.
It's weird. Yeah.
What are we doing here?
So, you know, then we're with.
So now we get to Nancy. Nancy's running food.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like you've got something to say about this.
this room of dudes just smoking their cigarettes and, you know, having a great time chatting about man stuff, just like this little girl could never understand. She's trying to pitch an idea to them, and they're like, yeah, sounds great. Death of small town America. I like it a lot. And, you know, except he just wants to complain about how his lunch is wrong and she needs to get it right. So it's like he makes it first seem like, yeah, great idea, kid, but how about you know, get my sandwich right next time and do your job. You know, it's pretty much she was about 2 seconons away from like smacking her on the ass. You know what I mean? Like that's like basically the vibe that was happening in this scene. It's like
it's definitely it was working girl vibe for sure
moment here.
Yeah. This whole idea of like, well, Nancy can't have any good ideas because she didn't get mustard on the sandwich. Ugh. It was very not 2025.
Well, no. And she, although, you know, in some settings, misogyny is still alive and well, but this is way more common at this point. And this whole theme was socially acceptable.
Yeah.
Yes, fully.
This is commonplace in every workplace.
Yes.
At this point in time.
It was almost to be expected. The boys' club.
Yes, that's right. This is not expected today. Not saying it doesn't exist in some places today, but it's definitely not as commonplace.
Yeah. And then we are with the guys, and Dustin is saying, "Meet Cerebro." It's the Cadillac of ham radio. And this is thought about our dad at this point, who's now ventured into ham radios and all the fun stuff that goes on. Yes.
I'll tell you what, he's got a tower in the backyard. It does not look like this thing Cerebro.
Does it go from the North Pole to the South Pole?
It sure doesn't. Cerebro looks like it is a satellite that fell out of the sky. Yeah. That is put up on sticks.
We would need to add some upgrades for Dad's, configuration to get to this level. This is a lot.
A number of upgrades. And a number of upgrades.
Dustin's saying, you know, I could talk to my girlfriend whenever I choose, and they're all in unison, girlfriend? Wait.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah.
What's going on here, Dustin?
I'll say this. Love that they wrote this in for Dustin. Whether or not she's real or a girlfriend or whatever, what it functionally does is it allows the audience to not have to worry about, oh, should Max have been with Dustin instead of Lucas? Like, that kills that. Dustin's moved on. He's got someone. Lucas is with Max. Because you know there would be people out there that are like, oh, maybe Dustin should be with her. He still likes her.
Hey.
No, he's got a new girlfriend now, and we're moving on.
Could happen, but she is very long distance. So there's that too. And we still at this point don't know
she's in Utah.
If she's just a figment of his imagination or what this is here. But
well, we know she lives in Utah according to Dustin. That's all we got.
And now we're back with Steve, where he is cashing
Steve!
out two of the girls at Scoops Ahoy and stumbling over his words. And this is actually, Eric, when you were talking
so bad.
when you were talking before about
Steve.
how characters have taken different turns, I was thinking, wow,
Holy
like
smokes.
he went from being like the cool kid at school that could like get any girl, it seemed like, and was really charming and slick, and maybe he wasn't really that guy.
Well,
like maybe he wasn't that guy as much as we thought that he was. I don't know.
No, he was, but here's the implication here. And this is why I think there is also a possibility that Jonathan and Nancy are at their first jobs and have graduated.
Yeah, I think so.
Because Steve, which also implies that Billy has graduated as well.
Yeah, I think so.
So it still could be an internship, but there's something in this range. And the reason I bring that up is because right here, Steve gets hit with this fear that I think a lot of guys have at some, maybe not everybody, but I think there are a bunch of guys who will be like, they're not going to college, or maybe they don't want to go to college, or they're not interested, or whatever. And you got these girls coming in, and you're working your job, doing your thing, and they've got these sweatshirts on, and it says Purdue, and Steve's like, oh, I almost went to Purdue, like thought about it, but I decided instead it'd be better to like, get some real life experience first. And they're all like, dude, this guy's a loser. He's not going to college.
Automatic.
That's the
judgment
vibe.
there. Yeah.
Immediate.
Yeah.
You can tell from their eyes, immediate judgment, immediate rejection. Doesn't matter what he says from there on out. And you get the vibe that that's kind of what's going on with all the girls. It's not that Steve's lost his thing. It's that they're like, oh, he's just, working at this ice cream place. I'm going to college. I'm leaving town.
Well, and there
I
are
feel
those.
it. I feel
There
bad
are
for
those
Steve.
kids too that we could all almost see it, where it's like, oh, you're peaking in high school. Like that was
Right.
that was the
Like the kid that's the prom king that always is Chip from Friends.
Yes,
right.
Chip Matthews.
It's Chip. He's the guy who is always hanging around, always lived in his hometown. The best thing he ever did was be like the high school quarterback, and he's never gotten past that. He's never moved beyond that. And you see Steve projecting that lifestyle onto himself already, because he can feel being left behind by all these girls who would have fallen over each other to date him while they were in high school, but now they're all just leaving him behind, and it's hard.
Well,
although I do love the scoreboard that Robin's got up,
0
and
for 6.
she's keeping track.
Striking out with the
0
ladies.
for 6.
And I also did notice here, Eric, that did you catch the price? $1.25 for 2 ice cream cones. Wow.
That's pretty good. That's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, you're not going to find that.
I did not catch that price.
Uh-huh.
That is a good deal.
Yeah.
In fact, you'd be lucky to pay like, I don't know, $4 or $5 for an ice cream cone these days. Maybe $3.
Mm-hmm.
Depends on where you go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, he's then trying out a new look where he's saying screw company policy and whipping off the hat.
Well, it's because it's the hair. The hair is what does it.
That's right. He does have some nice hair. So he takes off the hat and he's trying to use that to his advantage. But we're back.
Didn't work.
Yeah, no, it didn't work.
Didn't work because also, it's like he forgot how to talk to girls too.
Yeah.
He's saying some real weird stuff. So even if he came across as smooth Steve Harrington, but he's not going to college, it's just all falling apart.
Yeah.
He's lost it.
Lost it. It's a tough setting to be hitting on these girls. Like, you're behind the counter at work. Like this is not the place, maybe afterwards.
It's not.
No, this is not going to work out.
No.
And because then well, we're back with Hop and Joyce at this point where Hop is now practicing his speech that he's going to give to 11. I know you both care about each other very much. I want to build an environment where we can all feel comfortable to share our feelings. And even as he's like rehearsing this, I'm
ridiculous.
Like, he is never going to say this. Like, this is never going to happen. And nope, this isn't going to work. Maybe I'll just kill Mike. I'm the chief of police. I can cover this up. Yeah. So,
yeah. But you can also see at this moment, because then Joyce gets a customer.
Yeah.
And she walks away, and you could tell that Hop likes Joyce.
Oh yeah, they grazed hands.
This connection.
Yeah.
Yeah, this connection that they've had where they've kind of both been running near each other, and now Bob's not there, and Hopper is not exactly, he's not making it known. Yeah. But he does like her.
Yeah, I think she can tell. I think it's he invited her.
Well, it seems like they've got a long history going back to like sharing cigarettes in high school.
They clearly care about each other. There's love there for sure, but yeah, it's been a lot for Joyce obviously, and he had invited her over so that she could maybe be there while he's trying to have this conversation with the kids, but she can't. She says she has plans that night, and He's definitely looking at her longingly as she's walking away, I would say. They kind of zoom in on his face. They zoom in on when their hands grazed each other. And it's obvious that he has strong feelings there. But then we jump to the next scene where the kids are climbing a hill to set up that ham radio. And I love this, Eric. It's like as they're definitely, it looks like they've been climbing this hill for a while at this point. They're out in the middle of nowhere in some field, and Mike and 11
Sound of Music
just stop. Yeah, it's like the Sound of Music. Honestly, it was. It's like, where are we now? But Mike and 11, just as they're halfway up this hill, are just like, all right, we gotta head back. It's like, wait, what? What is happening?
It's curfew. They're like at 4 p.m.
Sure. Yeah. They've been like this all summer. That's what they're saying.
Been like this all summer. And that's where you first get the look that even their friends are not happy with this arrangement here.
They're in that obsessed
It's too
phase.
much.
Yeah.
Like it's they're all still friends, but they're like, this is too much.
Yeah. And Dustin is a bit pissed because he just came back from camp and he wants to hang out with the whole group. And but then we see Will, though, where he's getting more of those goosebumps on the back of his neck because he's touching the back of his neck again, and something is going on.
And Mike is always the one that knows.
Yes.
Even in the movie theater, Mike was like, "Hey, you okay?"
And he ran off.
And Mike has run off with Elle, and you see Will look towards Mike.
Yes.
He looks to Mike. Mike's leaving. So then he looks back. None of the other ones are ever able to see him doing this for some reason. So none of them recognize, and he just kind of like buries it and moves on with the radio tower setup.
All right, I know these are young kids, but you'd think after everything they've been through that they'd all be a little bit more like honed in on what's happening with Will, or he would just be way more upfront and say, "Hey guys, like, feeling weird stuff over here." I'm sure he's I'm surprised it's now happened twice and he hasn't spoken something. That's right. That's what I'm saying. So because then we have this really quick scene where we're back in that like that warehouse that we had zoomed in on before with the sand that was zipping around
Well, because we panned away from the radio tower,
right.
and we see these rats just running in a line. And then we see them, we're following these rats all the way through back to that warehouse.
A lot of rats.
And there were a lot of rats, and they're all coming downstairs to that lower level where we saw the tornado twirl up, and they're all just exploding.
It was gross. Yeah. Exploding rats. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Screaming
for nothing.
Exploding.
It didn't seem like there was anything there, but yet they were all still filing down there. They were all coming down, being led like the Pied Piper, all the way into the basement just to get blown up by nothing.
Yeah. What's that about?
Energy.
What is that about?
It's about something. Mm-hmm. It's about something.
Well, we see the biggest rat in that space.
Oh,
that was a little harsh, I guess, but maybe not, because here, speaking of which, we have Billy.
Yeah.
Staring at Mrs. Wheeler doing the backstroke in the pool. He was staring so hard at her, and he's saying, "Looking good out there, Mrs. Wheeler. Perfect form." Well, your form is amazing. Oh my goodness.
This is a rough scene.
Yeah, and
it's so awkward.
Yeah, and she's saying, I've seen
maybe
you
I could
out
teach
there
you a few things.
Teaching. Yeah, she's trying to then come back from that, saying, "Yeah, I've seen you out there teaching. So that's the form I'm talking about." And then he's coming back with, "I could teach you if you want." Wow.
Yeah.
She then drops her towel. She's so flustered, and he's saying, "I offer advanced lessons to select clientele, and hey, there's a good pool at the Motel 6, very private." I mean, now all subtlety is gone. I mean, there's not even, no one's hiding anything here. And he's saying tonight at 8:00, and she's saying, "Listen, I'm sorry, I can't. Wow.
Oh my God.
Wow. This scene.
I will not forget the first time I saw this scene. And I was just like, Mrs. Wheeler, wow. What are you doing?
Yeah.
How are you even entertaining this idea? Now,
Mr. Wheeler is not helping anything here.
Mr. Wheeler is nothing special.
But this is...
Right? I am not the first. I will be the last one to be like, "Oh yeah, he's great.
Ted's got it going on." No. But this is...
Ted Wheeler doesn't have it going on. That's for sure.
But this kid is, well, he's a kid. Okay. So that's where that scene closes out. But then we have Dustin and Lucas and Max and Will, where they're finally making it to the top of that hill. And at this moment...
Well, they've been at the top.
Okay, yeah. And,
haven't they? They've been, because they put the whole thing together.
No. But this is when they first got up there, because they're then... Max wants the water, and Lucas is just finishing the entire water bottle all by himself. Max is glaring at him like, "Is he really going to do this?" Oh, yeah, he does. He tries spitting some of the water back in the bottle.
Gross. Gross,
Ew.
Lucas.
Ew.
Now, I will say this.
That's one of my things. I can't.
Agreed. All the way around. That's the most accurate high school boyfriend thing that's happened in this entire episode.
Ew, wow.
Where he's not really ready to be a boyfriend yet, and he's still kind of like, "Oh, I got some water in my mouth. Here, hold on."
Yep. They're 13. So, yeah.
That is spot on for middle school boyfriend maneuver.
Wait, or 14 now, I guess? Wait, there were 12. Yeah, I guess this is 14 here. Yeah, I'm just trying to do some of the math here. No, it's all the same. I'm just saying.
Age is out the window with this group of children who seem to get real old. Oh, it does. But listen, they're all about to be 20 real fast.
Oh, God. Yeah. Well, we have...
But yet they're still in ninth grade.
Yeah. And we have Dustin. He's trying to reach Suzie on the radio, and he's saying, "I'm sure she's there. It's around dinner time." It is radio silence. Then we have Joyce coming home, and she's like, "Hello? Is anyone here at the house?" No one's home. So she's heating up.
Well,
yeah.
Also, in this scene, we have Will, which I thought was a nice little moment, Will is getting up to the top of the hill going, why couldn't we just play D&D?
Oh, yeah.
Which is, again, a real snapshot into where is Will in this whole thing.
Yeah.
Because I feel like Will's character, we don't really know a lot about.
Will's
we know little bits.
Kid.
But
he's an indoor kid.
He's also always been he's been controlled by the mind flayer more often than not.
Yeah.
So when we get these little snippets, it's Will's not interested in having relationships with girls. He's not interested in finding a girlfriend.
No.
He doesn't care about any of that stuff. He just wants to hang out with his buddies
friends.
and play D&D.
That's really
that's
all
what he
it
wants
is.
to do.
Yeah.
He has a lot of fun with that, and he wants to go back to doing that.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem like much like Steve has kind of had these high schoolers who are going off to college pass him by a little bit.
Yeah.
Will is kind of watching his own friends just kind of mature past him a little bit here, and he's definitely feeling the left behind part, because then he goes back to it in a couple scenes like, well, maybe we could all just hang out and play D&D again next time.
They're evolving into different stages, but he's really wanting to like hang on to, because he lost some time there too. It's like he
really did.
Yeah.
He genuinely lost time.
Hey guys, I'm back. Could we just go back to doing what we were doing all that time before? Because that was pretty great. Let's do that.
Yeah.
And I would describe Will. He seems like he's a indoor kid. He likes to draw, play his games, hang out. Like, it's pretty, yeah. So
he's a gamer.
Yeah. Yeah. And so then so then we come back and we're with Joyce getting home, and no one else is home.
Yes.
And she's making this, little plate with some lasagna and peas, throwing it in the microwave, and then really having just these memories of Bob hanging out on the couch with her. So this is where they're really showing us that she's still having a really hard time with the loss of Bob. I think part of her, I get the impression that she probably felt like she didn't appreciate all those moments while she was in them. I think this can happen to all of us. And thinking back on those times, because really when they were together, you almost got the impression that it's like,
I got the impression that she was always trying to hide stuff from him.
That's what I'm saying.
Because
Yeah.
she didn't want to be fully honest with him.
Yeah.
And now that he's gone, partially because he didn't know all the truth.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's hard. It's hard for her, I think, because I think she genuinely views that as an opportunity. I think she was going to take him up on the let's move to Maine and start a new life.
Maybe.
I think she was warming up to that.
I think she wanted to get there, but the timing was just, she was having to deal with so much stuff. It's almost like, I think Bob, part of the reason why she didn't tell him everything is she wanted that to be almost this separate, safe space where she didn't want him to know, because she wanted to just move past it, right? Like, she just wanted that to be in the past. This is my new life, simple, with Bob from high school, where he's just, the original AV club kid, and like, let's just live this very like cozy, simple life together. And I think that was part of it. Yeah.
Unrelated to this storyline here, piece, did you see the reel that I sent you about Sean Astin, talking about the character Bob?
Yes.
And how he said to the Duffer Brothers, like almost right out of the gate, because I guess he had delivered the line about, I love Kenny Rogers.
Yes.
And he's like, please listen, I know you're going to kill me. I don't know when you're going to kill me. It's fine. I don't have a problem with it. But let Bob do something heroic.
Yes.
Because Bob is just a normal dude.
Yeah.
And the normal dude never gets to do anything heroic.
Yeah.
So can you let Bob do something great?
And he did.
And they didn't have to listen to him on that, but that was his plea to the Duffer Brothers, and he sure did. He went out like a hero.
And I love that, because then they feature the drawing too of him being the superhero, so it kind of drives
Bob Newby, superhero.
More. Yeah.
Like,
so good.
Like, how great is that?
Yeah. And speaking of that drawing, because right in this scene, you then pan out to the fridge as Joyce is enjoying her dinner, and all those magnets are shaking off the fridge again. So whatever this is that's causing, this energy pull, it's not going away. This is the same thing that's exploding the rats, I imagine, and the same thing that's swirling up all that dust, the mind flare. So then we're with Nancy, where she is picking up the phone at the Hawkins Post. And Eric, this scene, maybe I just watched it too fast. She's just saying, "Can you repeat that?" And we're unsure what was said, and that was it, right?
Oh, well, she wrote down notes.
Yeah.
So she's cleaning trash up around like the conference table where all the guys were eating lunch. She's clearly the only one at the newspaper station.
Yes.
Or
at the
place.
At the paper.
At the paper. Anyway, she's the only one there, and essentially she picks up the phone, she grabs a notebook, and she writes down on it diseased rats, and then puts double underlines it.
I knew I missed something. Okay.
And puts something, and I think she might have put the name of the person who was calling about it, but she recognized that, okay, there's a report of all these diseased rats.
She's breaking that
that's
story.
That's all we got from that. Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, she's got it. No one else has got it.
That's right.
So we'll see what she does with it now.
Yeah, someone's probably going to steal it from her. But then we have...
Well, but then we're back to the cabin.
Yeah, then we have, we're with Mike and Elle, where they're back to making out in her room again, and Hopper is trying to find the right time to talk to them. And I'm thinking, Hopper, shouldn't you be waiting until Mike isn't there to have this conversation with your adopted daughter now? No, he shouldn't. He needs to have this with both of them.
That was the point. Okay. That's the goal.
I just felt like he should first talk with her. I don't know. So either way.
Well, here's what I would have done. You can't go into the room
have
that
them
they're
come
in.
out.
Get them to come out. Get them to come out into a neutral location. That's what I'm saying. What are you doing here?
Well,
Please get them to come to you. Then, he's doing his best. He's trying to sit down and have this conversation, although he clearly doesn't want to have this conversation. But I'm going to tell you what. How Mike got out of that room alive is unbelievable. Yeah. When he says things like, "Oh, I think we're in trouble."
Oh, Mike. It was so bad. He was so annoying.
Then he whispers. He's whispering to Elle, and they're laughing in front of Hopper.
Oh, that was bad.
What?
The lack of respect was insane. And that's why so I was very critical of Hopper calling Mike an SOB earlier, but it's not only do you get that here, but also based on what they've all been through as a group, it's also surprising the lack of respect that Mike has for Hopper. You would think, I don't know, it just doesn't make any sense.
This scene, I am at such a loss for words in this scene because of everything that you just laid out. And the idea that this is just not a good move. If you're Mike, who are you trying to impress here?
That's bad.
I understand that he's trying to win over Elle. You've already won over Elle. You need to win over the dad. You need to win over the family. What are you doing?
And Elle's kind of joking back with him too. The whole thing is weird.
She has not even been in society for a year and a half yet. She gets a pass.
No.
Okay? Mike, what are you doing, man? Come on. I know this is a first girlfriend situation, but bro,
it starts.
You have got to know better than that.
It starts out okay, with good intentions. He's kind of going in, but then he's turning off the radio and just staring at them, and there's silence, and he's saying, "I needed to say to you," and what I really wanted to say. He's really just fumbling over his words too, and it's not good.
He didn't start it well. He didn't start
well. He started calm, but I will say. He tried to take.
Well, it started calmish.
But right when
Calmish.
Mike started to really laugh and they're giggling and, oh, do you think we're in trouble, Elle? He's saying, and no.
Listen. You're like barely holding it together as Hop, trying to have a conversation, and this punk kid is gonna start like running his mouth right in front of you. Like, nah.
That's when Hopper's like,
and that's when he's like, oh, your mom called. You gotta go home. Let's go. Yeah. And that part, I was like, Hopper, that's the move. There's your power move right there. Get him out. Time to go.
Yeah, and I mean, now they're outside, and Mike is saying, "Is she dead? Does she have cancer?" They get in Hopper's truck, and he's saying, "Nothing. There is nothing wrong with Nana." And he's saying, then Mike is yelling at him, saying, "You lying piece of shit. You're crazy." I'm like, wow. Kid. And Hopper's then locking all the doors, and his voice is getting low, and he's just saying, "You haven't seen crazy. I'm going to speak, and you're going to listen, and maybe if you're lucky, I'll continue to allow you to date my daughter. Nod if you understand."
Yes, that was that was the big move. Like, because Mike is running around like he gets to do whatever he wants all the time. And Hopper has just made it very clear that he's in control of this situation, whether Mike wants to believe it or not.
Yeah, I don't think Mike is used to having a lot of rules laid out for him at home, so...
Clearly not. He's wherever he wants to be, whenever he wants to be there. The Wheeler parents have no idea.
I mean, you would think they would just go to Mike's house, considering, like, the parents never know where the heck they are anyway, so that also struck me, as I was wondering why they're not just there.
No way is Hopper allowing that to happen.
Yeah.
Not a chance.
Okay,
like, I think, because here's the thing. Even when, well, this is very interesting. Because it's surprising to me that 11 wouldn't go to the mall with them.
No.
Like, why would Mike be going to the mall, going to the movies, and Elle not?
I think there's still limitations for what he's letting her do, I guess.
Yeah, but she does go to Dustin's.
Yeah, so maybe she isn't allowed just amongst the public
to like social places.
Yeah,
like
I don't know.
It's very awkward. I don't understand the rules yet, and I'm sure we'll kind of get into that.
Yeah,
but it's very confusing at this moment.
Yeah, I remember she does go, but I think it's against the rules. I think that she's breaking the rules when she does end up going to the mall. I
don't know.
But
I don't recall any of that yet.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see what happens as we get there.
Well, meanwhile, we also have Dustin trying to still get in touch with Suzie. And Lucas is saying, well, you know what, Dustin? Maybe Suzie just doesn't exist. And Max...
No girl is that perfect. No girl is that perfect
Max
is what he says.
What do you mean by that? And then she laughs it off. She's like, "Oh, just kidding. I don't really care." Yeah.
She does laugh it off. And I'm like, wait, but like, she's still gonna needle him for it, which is great. Like, love that. I just genuinely love this Lucas and Max combo. It's really good.
Yeah, they're cute together. And Max and Lucas, they're taking off, and Will agrees. Yeah, he's got to go too. It's getting late. And again, Will here is saying maybe we can play D&D tomorrow. So he's just trying to plant that seed. Hey guys.
Double like, yeah, he's still just putting that out there. Like, hey, maybe we can do the thing that we all like to do forever. Mm-hmm. Like, let's do that again.
Yeah. Well, then they're all leaving Dustin on the hill, and just as they leave, of course, love the timing of this.
But to be fair, Dustin, I understand that, hey, you just got back and you want to hang out with everybody. It's clearly late at night.
Yeah.
What do you want all your friends to just sit here on a hill while you wait for somebody in Utah to maybe answer the ham radio? Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Let's have some realistic expectations of what we could do.
It's also, I'm thinking after everything they've been through, again, I feel like I just keep saying that, but it's true. It's like after all of this, now they're separating and they're just leaving Dustin out on this hill. I mean, I know Will hasn't said of this feeling that he's getting, but you'd think because of that feeling, he would also be like, dude, let's stay together. Like, come back with us. I just have this weird.
Well, but that's the thing. Like, Dustin shouldn't be just, I mean, theoretically, if they're all convinced, it's been almost a year now that there's nothing going on. That's one thing.
It was a year from the last time, too.
Well, it hasn't actually even been a full year since then, technically, I don't think.
Oh my God.
But
nope.
That being said, Dustin could be left up there by himself, but why would he want to? Like, go back with your friends. You've been up there for hours.
He's just trying to talk to his girlfriend at this point.
Well, so does that make him any better than Mike?
Right? Yeah, well.
Does that make him any better than Mike? No, it doesn't.
But it's good that he was still trying to tap into something, because just as they leave, he starts to pick up on a signal, and it is not Suzie. It's the Russians. And they're speaking in some type of code, right? Because then we're going back into that lab where we were in the beginning of the episode, and we're with the scientist where he's looking back down into that space again from behind the glass.
Yeah. I wrote trying to open the gate again.
Yeah.
Although we don't really know that that's what they're doing.
Nope.
Because we only see their faces watching what's happening behind us.
But the other...
like behind the camera.
Yeah, and the other guy we only saw the one scientist, right? Like that guy from the beginning.
Correct.
He's... Okay, yeah, I think he's dead. I'm pretty sure he was killed. But
he very well might be.
So right after that, that moment where we're seeing the scientist, then we're back with Mrs. Wheeler, where she is getting all dolled up at home. She's putting on makeup, doing her hair. Oh, God. She's taking off her wedding ring. Yep, she's doing that.
She's
doing that for a high school kid.
At
Still
least,
calling him a high school kid. He's a teenager.
At least she thought about it. She did pause for a second.
Well, but she comes downstairs.
But she doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She comes downstairs, and that's when she sees Ted sleeping in the chair with their daughter, with Holly. And so he's zonked out. She's zonked out on his lap, and she's...
By the way, this is like Ted had one redeeming scene earlier, and I forget exactly what he said. I think it was the scene with Dustin at the door that was like decent. But this is the best thing that Ted has done. And it's like, okay, he's asleep on the chair.
Yeah, but they're kids
like,
with
but he's got their youngest daughter in the chair with him, sleeping while they had TV on.
Yeah.
And you're stepping out, taking your rings off to go find some high school boy at a Motel 6. What are you doing?
And they added, I saw a clip of the actress who plays Mrs. Wheeler saying that they added that, having Holly with Mr. Wheeler after the fact.
Yes, that changes everything.
And it was
everything.
Yeah, because if we just saw Ted like snoring in the chair, you'd almost feel like, she's just going to go. You know what I mean? But adding the daughter in there, it's like, oh, okay.
It's super impactful. Yeah. It changes the whole thing. Because if he's just zonked out in the chair, you go, oh, he doesn't care about her anyway.
Right. He's just sleeping.
But if he's got the daughter, that is like, this is your family man. Yeah. This is the guy who cares. I'm not going to say a whole lot about Ted. All right. Listen, Ted and I go round and round. But it gives that appearance in this scene because the daughter is there. Mm-hmm. So...
Well, now we're...
it was a great addition.
But now we're with Billy, where he's racing off to apparently try to probably go into that Motel 6 pool. But because he's driving fast and something causes him to crash. And...
Well, the windshield just shatters.
Yeah. And...
The windshield just... It's like... I thought at first... like... he drove under a
Right.
bridge and some kid
Dropped something.
dropped a brick on the
Right.
windshield and just shattered the windshield right in front of him.
It doesn't make sense.
Because he didn't hit it,
did
but
he spin
no.
out? Like, what happened? Something shattered the windshield. He gets out of the car and he's touching it, and there's like this goo on the windshield.
Yeah.
And he's just looking around. He's like,
And-
who's there? Like, who?
And he's at the Grimroy Steelworks.
Yes. And
That is the sign.
And that is where we've been looking into this entire time. So now we know, oh God, Billy is at that location where all this energy has been, swirling together and the rats have been exploding. This is not where you want to be, Billy. So
Nope.
he's, saying who's there, and something just grabs his ankle and drags him into this warehouse and down the stairs. He is screaming. It's a super intense scene, and he's like gripping on to the top of the staircase, just trying to hold on for dear life. This almost reminds me of Barb in the swimming pool. And
It's very reminiscent of that.
and you just see
because
his face.
you get this
Yep.
you get this shot very much like her holding on to like the ladder out of the
Exactly.
pool, where he is holding on to these railings at the top of a staircase, and then shunk,
He's gone.
down he goes.
He is gone, just like Barb was into that
Roll
pool.
credits.
So it's like, oh, yeah, that mind flare, it has a way because he's gone.
Gonna get you. All right, so now let's jump into the IMDb ratings segment of our podcast, where we stack up our ratings of this episode versus yours as voted on at IMDb. Plus, we're going to give you our favorite and least favorite characters of this episode. I'm going to start first.
Yeah.
And I will say this. I have a lot of least favorite characters from this episode.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
There's
It
a
was tough.
lot of them. Okay? I don't like Hopper in
Yeah.
a lot of this.
No.
I don't like Mike at all. I don't even like 11 because of her association with Mike. All three
Yeah.
of them have got
Right.
issues.
No.
I don't love
good.
Dustin.
Nope.
Okay? I don't like Miss Wheeler.
Yeah.
I don't like Billy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of
I'm right there
characters
with
not to
you.
like.
This is
There's a
literally
lot.
the exact
That's a lot.
conversation that I was having with
That's-
Pedro after we watched this episode. I was like, I was annoyed by a whole lot of people in this one. It was
There
a good
are
episode,
so
but
many
what?
people. So many people that had like, and this is why I'm saying I feel like season 2 is like a continuation of season 1, but season 3 is a shift.
Yeah.
And I think this change is probably a lot for a lot of people.
Mhm.
I'm very curious as to how the people rated this episode.
Me too.
But of all of them, I never have that many people to pick from for least favorite. But I got them all. So I'm picking Mike. Okay? Mike is the worst.
Yeah, that was bad. That was
There's,
rough.
I mean, I get, you could pick any one of them, and I am understanding of that.
Yeah.
But Mike, get out.
I know.
You are my least favorite by a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where I'm staying. How about you?
Yeah, the giggling scene, it was just too much. I mean, my God.
Too much.
But
Too much. As a dad, that's too much. I'm not dealing with that. No.
And yeah, I agree with exactly what you just said. I mean, it's almost difficult to select who annoyed me the most, but I went with Mrs. Wheeler because
I get it.
oh my goodness.
I get it.
Wow,
I get it.
Wow. Hanging out with the pool ladies. Well, probably a little bit too much. I think the sun has gone to her head. She needs to part ways with that pool. And,
Maybe so.
yeah, so I went with Mrs. Wheeler, but I actually struggled a little bit with my favorite character because I'm like,
I did too.
I don't know.
I did too, but
who
I'm happy with my choice.
yeah, so I went with Nancy as my favorite
Okay.
because I felt like, hey, she's chasing down that dream even though it looks pretty rough. Seems like she's trying to stick with it. She has a goal now and she's on her way, so I felt like Nancy had a good showing in this episode.
I'm gonna pick someone who I have not picked yet.
Okay.
I'm gonna pick Will.
Okay, yeah.
I'm picking Will. I really liked Will. I feel like
Yeah.
he represented being a good friend.
Mm-hmm.
I think he represented, that kindness that we see from him over and over again. I think we can obviously see that he's got some nervousness with what's going on coming forward. But I just feel like none of the characters really jumped forward either. Like, I thought about Lucas and Max.
Yep.
I never really thought about Nancy and Jonathan. They were very part-time in this one.
Yeah, they were. But I felt like that was
but I get it.
Yeah, and I almost felt like that was the case. The storyline, they always like to do these quick shots of the scenes where they're jumping around a lot. So it almost felt like, again, like as I said at the very beginning, we're setting the stage for what's to come, because
we're
just
clearly
getting this little taste of where everyone is at, just trying to give you get you focused in on where things are going to be leading, but we didn't really develop a lot. So that's where I also struggled a little bit with my rating of this episode, because, as we're talking about it, Eric, I kind of I just bumped it up like a little bit, but it wasn't my favorite. You
bumped it up a little bit?
Yeah,
I actually just bumped mine down a little bit.
Yeah. I feel like it's a little bit, but you know what? It's still a solid rating. Just as far as Stranger Things goes, it's on the lower side for me.
Okay. What's your rating?
8.3.
Okay.
I had an 8.2. I felt like 8. I'm sticking with 8.3.
That's so funny.
Why did you?
Because I had an 8.2.
Oh, and you went to 8.1?
I also had an 8.2. I actually went to 8.0.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I just thought,
yeah,
there's no way I can justify this being that great an episode when I dislike so many things that happened in this episode.
Yeah. Okay.
I understand that it's a stage setter, and that this is what, a new chapter. And I'm very excited about this chapter. I like season 3.
Me too.
But boy, oh boy, does it start just with so much chaos and so many turns from characters that I don't like, that it's hard. It's hard for me to stomach. So I knocked it down to an 8. And let me pull up the
understandable. I feel like I'm going to be high on this one. I think that the people I'm thinking went low, but I don't know. We'll see.
Okay, so just for the record, the previous low is a 6.
Yeah, well, that one.
It's
not going to be that low.
It's not. No. So the previous low before that, for context, is an 8.1. Okay. And that was season 2's first episode.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah.
And remember, they kind of grew every episode. And I can see Stranger Things. Stranger Things is not like Friends in that context. As the season goes, they're going to get better. Yeah. But Friends, it's up and down when we do our Friends podcast. It all depends on the day.
It's so different.
Yeah.
Right.
It is a 7.8.
Oh,
so this is in the context of Stranger Things. In the context of Stranger Things, a 7.8 is real low.
That's really low. Yeah, that's what. Yeah, when Pedro and I again we were talking about this, and I asked him, I'm like, well, what would you rate this? And he said a 7. Yeah, he was.
I don't disagree with that.
And I'm like, I get that.
It's funny. I almost went into the 7s, and I didn't. I stuck at 8, but I thought, this is just there's so many people. I actually knocked it down 0.2 of a point after I listed all the characters I didn't like.
No, it's so true.
Because I'm like, if I don't like Mrs. Wheeler, Billy, Elle, Mike, Dustin, Hopper, I don't like any of them.
I know.
What do I really like about this episode?
Well,
Nancy and Jonathan are not around. Lucas and Max have a few good moments. Dustin is, he's on the not like list too. Will is my favorite character, and it's only almost by default. Joyce, I like Joyce too. She would have been my second best character, But like, she has a whole scene where she's sitting by herself eating lasagna. Like, what is that?
Yeah.
This was not a good episode.
It's a little bit rough, but it's still in my mind miles above the El Solo episode.
Oh, well,
so, I mean,
yes.
Yes.
But if you took that episode out,
it's going to get better. I guarantee we're going to see the same thing where each episode just keeps getting increasingly better.
I don't know if it'll be a perfect like arc all the way better, but it will get better and better and better, no doubt, as it goes. And I mean, I'll just say this. I feel like watching the episode, I genuinely enjoyed watching the episode. You know what I mean? I was not sitting on my couch not entertained.
No, right.
But I just disliked so many of the things that happened that I had to knock it down.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, and I think the fans did too. I think that's what happened. Too many things not to like. But it also gives us a lot of things, a lot of characters to watch redeem themselves. By the way, we didn't even mention Steve in any of that. Steve and Robin. Robin gets into the cast. Steve is continuing his character arc, which
I
is
almost
picked
good. Steve as being my
I was
favorite
close too. I was close to
but I'm
that
like,
too.
you know what? I feel like there are so many episodes where I'm going to be picking Steve, so I need to not pick Steve here because, Mars to come.
Fair enough. Well, thank you so much for listening to the We Run on Reruns podcast. Please check out our socials, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Subscribe to us there. Repost our reels. Thumbs up. Like everything. Subscribe. Follow. Do all the fun stuff that people do on social media. Don't forget to leave us a comment. If you do, I promise you, I will comment back. Also, you could check out our website, werunonreruns.com, where we have all our podcasts in full. You can also check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or any of your other podcast players. For Amanda, this is Eric. Enjoy watching Stranger Things Season 3, Episode 2 next week. Happy rerunning, everybody.
See you later, guys.